Hey everyone, I'm JP and welcome to GoodTalkHQ. In today's episode, we're going to check out some of the great eShop deals that you can pick up for under $5, and then as usual, we'll have a few other deals at the end. It feels great to be back, and I do appreciate everyone that checked in on us over the past week or so. Trust me, I missed you all as well. If this happens to be your first time here, welcome and thanks for checking out the channel. If you have a good time or we help you find a game or two, consider subscribing to join the family. We'd love to welcome you. And to the extended family already here at the channel, thanks as always my friends. I truly appreciate the love and support, and as you know, you're the heart of the channel. So again, thank you. And please leave a like on the video to help spread it around so we can keep things growing together. Alright, without any further ado, let's dive into the list and try to find some deals. As always, stay safe out there my friends, and please enjoy the video. Alright, we'll start off with Aegis Defenders. This is a multiplayer action RPG from Humble Games and offers a main story that will last roughly 15 hours or so, and it has a download size around 1.5 gigabytes. The game is gorgeous on the Switch, and it's kind of a mashup of two genres done almost to perfection. Players will have to explore, build, and defend in the unique mashup of action platforming and tower defense. You'll play as a team of hunters searching the ruins for the one thing that may be able to save your village, a long-lost legendary weapon called Aegis. This is another great option if you have a sibling or a friend that you like to play games with in local co-op, and if you're interested, make sure to grab it up before the sale ends on March 31st. Right now it's marked down 75%, matching a previous low of just $4.99. Another World is a single-player action platformer from .emu with a small download size around 35 megabytes and a main story that can be finished up in about 2 or 3 hours. In this one, we play as an unlucky scientist that has had one of our experiments go wrong, and we end up teleported to another world. It features a unique sci-fi world where you'll fight the locals and solve puzzles in order to try to find your way back home. Now this is a remastered version of the cult classic and has the option to play with upgraded graphics and sound, or if you prefer to play with the originals, you can go that route as well. If you're interested in Another World, be sure to pick it up before the sale ends on March 28th. Right now it's marked down 60%, matching a previous low of just $3.99. Butcher is a fast-paced single-player 2D platform shooter that will take players roughly 5 to 6 hours to complete, and it has a download size around 150 megabytes. Now Butcher is a love letter to classic platform shooters from the 80s, and it has an amazing soundtrack that will get you pumped up to kill waves of enemies. The game is all about brutal action, and it delivers one of the most challenging experiences on the Switch. You'll need quick reflexes because not only are the enemies trying to kill you, but the stages are as well. It really does feel like playing a 2D Doom. If you're interested in Butcher, make sure to grab it up before the sale ends on March 28th. It's marked down 60% to just $3.99. Next we have Crypt of the NecroDancer, the Nintendo Switch edition. This is a rhythm-based dungeon crawler for 1 or 2 players in local co-op from Brace Yourself Games, with the main story that will last more than 20 hours. Now this is one of my favorite games, but one of the most frustratingly challenging ones as well. You'll have to move through the dungeons and attack on rhythm to the beat that's playing in the background, and I know it sounds a little bit odd at first, but the game is fantastic. The co-op mode is just an extra bonus, making this an even better value if you have a friend or again a sibling, somebody that you can play with. If you haven't played this one yet, make sure to pick it up before the sale ends on April 7th. Right now it's marked down 80%, matching an all-time low of just $3.99. Don't Starve, the Nintendo Switch edition, is a single-player survival adventure game from Clay Entertainment, and this game is pretty massive, and it can take upwards of 50 to 100 hours or even more to complete with side missions and all of that. Now in this one we play as a young scientist named Wilson who's been trapped by a demon in a mysterious place full of dangerous creatures and harsh elements. You'll have to learn to adapt to and exploit your environment in order to escape and find your way back home. One thing to keep in mind is they have mentioned that the co-op version is coming to the Switch down the road, so if you'd rather play online with a friend or something along those lines, wait for that version instead. Otherwise, you can pick this one up right now on sale until March 28th, marked down 75%, matching a previous low of just $4.99. Figment is a single-player 3D isometric adventure game with some action elements thrown into the mix. The main story should take roughly 5 to 7 hours to complete, and it has a download size around 1.8 gigabytes. The hand-painted world and the peaceful soundtrack were the biggest draw to me for the game, and it's a lot like Bastion or Transistor if you played those before. The whole game takes place inside the mind of a young man who's been in an accident and falls into a coma. We have to play out the events of the man's imagination and solve the random puzzles along the way. The game is a must-buy and matching an all-time low. Right now you can grab it up until March 30th, marked down 90% to just $199. Horizon Chase Turbo is a fast-paced arcade-style racer available for 1 to 4 players in local co-op, and it has a main story that can take over 15 hours to complete, not including the extras or DLC. Now of course the game is mostly all about multiplayer for many people, and this one excels in that area. It was inspired by the great racing games from the 80s and 90s with bright retro graphics and excellent audio both in the soundtrack and in the game sounds. It has the world tour for longer sessions or tournaments for shorter play sessions, and of course the ever-changing playground that updates regularly, so there's always a reason to come back. If you're a fan of these arcade style racers, you can grab this one up until March 28th, on sale 75% off, matching a previous low of just $499. Mark of the Ninja Remastered is a single-player stealth platformer from Clay Entertainment, the same folks that brought us Don't Starve. Now this one can take over 15 hours to wrap up, and it has a download size around 3.6 gigabytes. The game has excellent controls, smooth animations, and a great soundtrack, and while the story is a bit lacking, the gameplay more than makes up for it. The kills are brutal and the gameplay is truly engaging. I like that you can either play in complete stealth mode or just go nuts and rush into battle. And if you're interested in Mark of the Ninja Remastered, make sure to grab it up before the sale ends again on March 28th. Right now it's marked down 75%, matching a previous low of just $499. Next up we have RIVE, the Ultimate Edition. This is a 2D arcade-style action platformer from Two Tribes Publishing and offers around 8 to 10 hours of main story gameplay, with the download size around 860 megabytes. This game is hectic and crazy, but so much fun to play. You have to blast your way through some intense and spectacular battles in this tough but fair platformer. The game also features multiplayer action for 2 players in local co-op, which is always a welcome addition in our house. In RIVE, you get to pilot a spider tank as your main mode of transportation, and man, this little guy is a monster. It feels like David versus Goliath in most situations, and if you're interested in RIVE, make sure to pick it up before the sale ends on April 9th. Right now it's marked down 87% to just $199. The Flame in the Flood Complete Edition is a single-player adventure game with a simple art aesthetic and a transformative soundtrack. Published by Curve Digital, this game offers a main story that will last more than 15 hours, and it has a download size around 2 gigabytes. You'll travel both on foot and by raft as the young girl with her canine pal down a procedurally generated river. Players will need to gather materials, craft tools, and keep themselves in good health in the harsh wilderness. You'll also have to learn to deal with the wildlife as well, as not all animals that you'll come across will be friendly. The Switch version features all of the enhancements that were made over time to the game and is definitely worth checking out while on sale. The game is pretty tough though, so keep that in mind, but if you're interested in The Flame in the Flood, make sure to grab it up before the sale ends on April 2nd. Right now it's marked down 80%, matching an all-time low of just $299. The Hong Kong Massacre is a single-player arcade-style action game from Untold Tales with a download size around 4.1 gigabytes and a main story that should last roughly 4 to 6 hours to finish up. The game is basically a top-down shooter that was inspired by classic action movies, and it's a story of revenge as you assume the role of a former police detective on a path of vengeance, trying to take out your partner's killer. The game has some awesome weapons, and you have the ability to slow time, plus the standards like dodging and rolling out of harm's way. There's also a pretty cool cover system in place, and you can use the environments to your advantage in a lot of neat ways. If you're interested in the Hong Kong Massacre, be sure to pick it up before the sale ends on April 1st. Right now it's marked down 75%, matching an all-time low of just $499. Next up we have Wandersong. This is a single-player 2D platformer with a heavy emphasis on music from Humble Games and offers a main campaign that can last roughly 9 to 10 hours. Now as I said, the game has a heavy emphasis on music and singing. You play as a goofy young bard and you'll use music to interact with things along your journey. The game features an impressive cast of characters to meet along the way as well, and some pretty neat little puzzles to solve, plus some of the most colorful graphics on any game that I've ever seen on the Switch. The game is definitely emotional and surprisingly good, and if you're interested, make sure to pick it up before the sale ends on March 31st. Right now it's marked down 75%, matching an all-time low of just $499. Alright folks, and as always, here are some other games to check out while you're already on the eShop. Blazing Chrome is a 2D arcade-style run-and-gun shooter from the Arcade Crew with a download size around 140 megabytes and a main story that will last roughly 3 or 4 hours to finish up, plus it's available for 2 players and local co-op as well. In this one, machines rule the world and the human race is on the brink of extinction. It's up to us to take out the machines and take back control. There are 5 amazing levels full of hundreds of enemies and some really cool boss battles as well. The retro graphics and sound really give this an authentic arcade feel, and with the local co-op the game becomes even more fun. If you're interested in Blazing Chrome, it's on sale until March 28th, marked down 60%, matching a previous low of just $6.79. Next up we have Blue Fire. This is a single-player platform RPG from Graffiti Games with a main story that will last roughly 10 to 15 hours and it has a download size around 5 gigabytes. In this one, players embark on a journey through various temples and locations filled with increasingly harder platform challenges while completing quests and finding collectibles along the way. Now the game is all about fast-paced movement and quick reflexes, and the art style is phenomenal, plus the soundtrack was incredible as well. If you're interested in Blue Fire, make sure to grab it up before the sale ends on March 31st. Right now it's marked down 50%, matching a previous low of just $9.99. Call of Juarez, the Gunslinger edition, is a single-player arcade-style FPS from Techland that offers roughly 5 to 7 hours of main story gameplay with a download size around 2.7 gigabytes. In this one, we assume the role of a ruthless bounty hunter on the trail of the West's most notorious outlaws. The main story is full of memorable moments and tells the untold truth of some of the greatest legends of the Old West. The game features gorgeous 3D graphics, and the Switch version even added motion controls and HD rumble, which is always nice when the Switch has some unique console exclusives. If you're interested in this one, make sure to grab it up before the sale ends on April 7th. Right now it's marked down 60% to just $7.99 and matching a previous low. Carto is a single-player puzzle-style adventure game from Humble Games with a download size around 3 gigabytes and the main story that will last roughly 5 or 6 hours to finish up. Now the story in this game is very emotional and sees us taking over the role of a young girl as she quests to be reunited with her lost grandmother. Throughout the game you'll find new pieces of the map that you can actually rearrange to reshape the levels and open up new paths that you can then take. This is a very peaceful and relaxing adventure with cool NPCs and a great story. If you're interested in Carto, make sure to grab it up before the sale ends on March 31st. Right now it's marked down 50% to a new all-time low of just $9.99. Forager is a single-player adventure-style strategy game, again from Humble Games, and offers a main story that will last roughly 20 to 30 hours to finish up with a small download size of just 265 megabytes. Now this is a 2D open world exploration game where you'll have to gather, collect and manage resources, craft useful items and buildings, level up and learn new skills, abilities and blueprints, and so much more. There are dungeons to dive into with clever and fun puzzles to solve, which adds another layer to the already stacked game. If you're interested in this one, make sure to pick it up before the sale ends again on March 31st. It's marked down 60% to a new all-time low of just $7.99. Next up we have Forgotton Anne. This is a single-player platform adventure title from Throughline Games, and it should take roughly 10 hours or so to finish up. Now it has a download size around 4 gigabytes and an amazing story with gorgeous graphics and characters that are interesting in a unique setting. Now in this one we play as the ruler of a forgotten land as we set out on a quest to squash a mounting rebellion. The story has dialogue choices which will affect the outcome and ending. There is some light puzzle solving, but nothing that will get in the way for too long. It really is a great story, and if you're interested in Forgotton Anne, be sure to pick it up before the sale ends on March 29th. Right now it's marked down 60%, matching a previous low of just $7.99. Next we have Fury Unleashed. This is an action platformer from Awesome Games, available for 1 to 2 players in local co-op, and offers a main story that will last roughly 10 to 12 hours to finish up, with a download size around 1.3 gigabytes. In this one, players blast their way through the pages of an ever-changing comic book in this fast-paced roguelite. Every run you'll upgrade your character and weapons to increase your effectiveness for the subsequent runs. The game really is all about the shoot-'em-up action, and it delivers plenty of that to keep you engaged. The comic book art style and intense soundtrack are top-notch, and I always recommend it when it's on sale. If you're interested in Fury Unleashed, you can pick it up before the sale ends on April 8th. Right now it's marked down 65%, matching a previous low of just $6.99. Next we have Hand of Fate 2. It's a single-player tabletop deck-building RPG from Defiant Development, offering more than 40 hours of gameplay, and honestly it's sort of a blend of multiple games rolled into one, and they managed to pull it off flawlessly. The blend of deck building and questing is truly rewarding, as it can be quite difficult at times. It's a battle of wit and strength against the mysterious dealer, but if you choose your cards wisely and make it through to the end, you have played a one-of-a-kind game here on the Switch. If you're interested in Hand of Fate 2, make sure to pick it up before the sale ends on March 28th. Right now it's marked down 70% to a new all-time low of just $8.99. Huntdown is a 2D action platformer from Coffee Stain Games, available for 1 to 2 players in local co-op, with the main story that will last roughly 6 to 7 hours to finish up, and it has a download size around 1.2 gigabytes. Now the game is set in the distant future where crime has filled the streets and gangs rule as cops hide in fear. You're able to hunt down these criminals solo or with a friend through each of the amazing stages, fully inspired by the 80s. The hand-painted pixel art and the hand-drawn animations are absolutely gorgeous to look at on the Switch as well. The voice acting though is some of the best I've ever heard in an indie title, and this is one of my favorite games all time on the Switch. Now this one doesn't go on sale as often as many of the other games on the list, so if you're interested, be sure to pick it up before the sale ends on April 3rd. Right now it's marked down 60%, matching a previous low of just $7.99. Slay the Spire is a single-player strategy RPG from Humble Games, offering a main story that will last players more than 40 hours, potentially double or triple that for completionists. Now this is a fusion of deck-building card-style games and roguelikes, mashed together for a great experience. Like with many card builders, the key to success will come from trial and error and finding the best combination of cards to fill out your deck. The game world is an ever-changing one, so each trip up the Spire gives players a new layout, and the game never starts to feel too stale early on. As you travel through the Spire though, you can find powerful relics which will greatly enhance your deck, making easy work of the enemies that you encounter and the ones you were struggling with. If you're interested in this one, make sure to pick it up before the sale ends on March 31st. Right now it's marked down 60% to just $9.99. Next we have Ys Origin. This is one of the greatest single-player action RPGs of all time. It comes to us from .emu and offers roughly 20 to 40 hours of main story gameplay, depending on how much you like to explore and uncover, and it has a download size around 2.4 gigabytes. The game has 3 playable characters with different skill sets and abilities, gorgeous environments, multiple game modes including arena and speedrun modes, loads of relics and other collectibles to find, and some of the best music in any game. Plus, on top of that, the boss battles are outstanding. If you're a fan of the series or action-based JRPGs in general, you should definitely consider picking this one up before the sale ends on March 28th. Right now it's marked down 60%, matching an all-time low of just $7.99. Alright folks, that's going to go ahead and wrap up today's episode. Thanks as always for hanging out with us. You know we truly do appreciate it, and you're legendary if you made it this far. Sorry I was gone for a week or so. I got wrapped up trying to take care of things before the surgery, hanging out with Little Man. Plus, Elden Ring is one of the best games I've ever played, and it sucked me right in. I did beat it though, and I am the new Elden Lord. Now in all seriousness though, thanks as always, and if you're looking for more great content, click right here to watch any of our other videos. Bye everyone.
That's all for today's list. We hope you liked the video. If you did, consider subscribing and liking down below. Okay, bye!